Seek Yahweh while he is to be found. Call on him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. Let him return to Yahweh, who has compassion on him, and to our Almighty, our Allah, for he pardons much. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares Yahweh. For as the Shamayim are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain comes down and the snow from the Shamayim, and do not return there, but water the earth and make it bring forth and bud, and give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so is my word that goes forth from my mouth. It does not return to me empty, but shall do what I please, and shall certainly accomplish what I sent it for. Isaiah chapter 55, verses 7 through 11. Have you ever encountered something that seemed impossible? At the Art of Woman podcast, we share testimonies of those who have. From divine healings to answered prayers, you'll hear stories of how Yahweh turns trials into triumphs. This isn't just another podcast. It's a community of followers of the way, sisters, seeking the impossible through faith. Stay tuned, because today's episode might just be the encouragement you need. Okay, but what you were saying, whenever you were saying that these are the stripes that we take whenever we say I do, that is really deep right there. Yahweh Shai told us to consider the cost. And I don't think that it was really truly considered. I mean, I'm speaking for myself right now.
Right,
I don't think that it really,
right.
like I say, that I love the Most High YAH, that I love Yahweh Shai, that I want to serve him. I'm praying and asking, Yah, change me, help me to be the way that you want me to be. And
Mhm,
not my will, but Father, yours. But then when these hard
mhm,
and pressing and afflicting moments come, then suddenly, when I was sitting at, what came to me is a scripture in Isaiah. I believe it's Isaiah. I get them two mixed up, but I
mhm,
believe it's in Isaiah where he talks about strengthening the weak knees and the hands that hang down low. Because I get in that position, and it's like, Amana, are you serious? Like, and and I don't like to admit that, but I am in the moment. But I think that's where I
mhm,
kind of get, and then I think, but that's that kind of woe is me mentality. That is
mhm, mhm,
that pity, self pity, so to speak, mentality. And it's like I'm
mhm.
sitting here thinking
Right.
that, okay, I'm not strong enough to be able to get through this, and even though I'm not, through Yahweh Shamashiach, the word says that we can do all things through him. But
Mhm,
I get
mhm,
in those moments, like I was today, where I was just sitting there feeling like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I'm like, I'm not good enough. I'm
mhm,
not this, I'm not that. All of these different thoughts that, just had risen up as a result of that. And then next thing I'm crying. But what you
mhm,
just said, these are the stripes that we take when we say that I do, to the Most High. Like,
mhm, mhm.
that's that's deep.
It's a real commitment. It's a real commitment. It's a real, because one day you're sitting there and you have this, you have that light bulb moment or that aha moment, and
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh my goodness, I'm really in this.
Mm.
And like I'm really in this fight. I'm really, I'm really taking this on. I'm really saying to him that I am going to crucify this flesh
Right.
and I'm going to, strive to make it to the place that he has set apart for us, that promised land. So, and his promise was, okay, you do the work. After this work, I have a place for you to rest. See, he has a place for us to rest after this. because I think we want to rest now,
Right.
but this is not our rest because once
It
we
isn't.
get in this rest here, we'll get comfortable here and we'll forget about the
Mm.
kingdom that has been prepared for us. We'll forget about the sacrifice. He wants us. But sometimes I think we want ourselves, and that's when he say, die. Die to that, because when you die to that, then you'll love me, and then you're gonna want to be with me. My strength is your strength. I'm gonna give this to you so you can fight this fight. So when you fight this fight, you won't fail. You don't want to give because you want me. You
Right.
won't fail because you want me. And because I am your shalom. That's why he wants to be our everything. But I don't think
Wow.
we want
Yeah.
to give him everything, you know? And because I think we still want to, what they say, Lord or master over our life.
Mm.
And that's where I think we, especially women now, because of the shift in how we have to live, and even being now, even knowing that who we are coming into the truth, because I don't too much say awakening, because a lot of people say
Right.
awakening. I say to truth in this way of life after Hamashiach, our model. I think we kind of, I think we kind of, want to do our own thing and forget that he has a model for us to make it through this. Because I promise you, we want to build our own kingdom a whole lot, and we forget about
Mm.
if we do it's for earthly things. That's why he told us not to set our treasures on this earth. Don't
Right.
build these things because these things are going away. So, in what we have, he said, I have it. I can give you this, and I can give you eternal. So I want that in eternal because he can bless you to be, here to get through. He is his his power is
Allow.
just
Yeah.
totally, you know what I'm saying? His grace is sufficient, and his power is just to move for you and to change things. We can lean on that. I think we don't want to lean on that because we want that. I think we try to get in his way, and we kind of try to erase him out of really being our head and leading us and guiding us in all truth and understanding. And
Mm.
so that's where I think us as daughters of Zion need to go back and sit in Miss Shelley or Proverbs, as some say, and ask Yahuwah and plead with him for wisdom.
Mm.
Because he said wisdom keeps us out of Sheol, you know?
Yes, ma'am.
So and I think this is where I'm at now with a lot of things being that some have come, some have gone. Some family have walked away, some family has stayed around. And then with the raising of kids, sometimes you don't feel adequate enough. Sometimes we feel, kind of down in the dumps, but that's the enemy trying
Right.
to take away the hope
Mm.
because that's the only thing that we have, hope.
Mm.
And our
Wow.
faith is in him. I think that he's going to bring that hope that our everlasting is going to be with him.
Right.
So, and that's what I look forward to. We're gonna make many mistakes here, but that's why his grace is sufficient. That's why I thank Yahuwah for the Son. Because if we had to
Wow.
deal
Yeah.
with the Father, we'll be dusted. We'll be done. We'll be done. But
Right.
his nurturing, his intercessory,
Mm.
is what keeps us day by day. So when we down in the dumps or we don't feel like we the greatest at one even any point in time, he Hamashiach steps in and love on us. But sometimes we refuse his love and we want to take on and he can't like we I don't I'm studying on this free will thing versus choice because I don't really
Right.
think we have a free will. We have a choice and we choose to move him away from situations and want to indoctrinate ourselves instead of just letting him be the master of it. What would you have me to do, Yahusha, in this? What would you do in this situation? I'm waiting on your Ruach HaKodesh to speak to me to tell me how to navigate this job or raising my children or how to speak to this
Mm.
person or I'm hurt because this didn't go right. And that's how I've been maturing because I really have conversations with him just like I'm having with you. And it's not cute. You know what we say, get a little hood, but
Right.
it's okay. Understand because if you're not, he already know. So it's
Right.
not like we front in front of him, We can't front. He already know what's in the depths of our brain. Like he knows the inner part of us. So we can't go in front of him faking it. Cause he'll tell us, okay, well look at this mirror, cause I see that person. What you coming with?
Mm. So there's two ways in which um you've mentioned us hiding from the Father then.
Hmm.
It's like the one thing we're, well, not necessarily hiding, but the two things that we're trying to be in control of. I'll say it like that. The one, being master of our own lives. But then the second one you had mentioned, as far as thinking that we can just, like he doesn't know us or something,
Hmm.
and and not really being transparent and genuine in who it is that we are before him, as though we can hide something and
Right,
can't.
right. You
So
can't.
for some reason we're
Right.
thinking in our minds. Why do you think that that is though? Because we're talking to Yah.
I because I don't think we pinched ourselves and really realized it. Like okay, wake
Hmm.
up. Like I don't think sometimes you ask yourself, oh, am I in the Matrix? Like
Right.
sometimes you have to like, oh, wait a minute. Like you have these moments sometimes when you just have to just come to like I'm really living life. My name is really this. I am so years old. I worked here. I went to school here. These are my,
Mm.
sometimes these realities come back to us as if we were somewhere floating off in the sky somewhere, and we
Right.
have to come back,
Right.
and then we have to see and realize, okay,
Mm.
this is really truly happening. I don't know why we try to, as if we could hide from him. I think that's our forefathers, Adam and Chua.
I went back to
Because
that when yeah, I
yeah,
was thinking
yeah,
right
I
back
think
because
that
that's the
we picked
first.
that
Yes,
up.
ma'am.
Yeah, we picked that up from
Yes.
there. Like if we can hide, as if we can, Lord of our situation,
Mm.
and he wouldn't see it,
Mm.
or as if he is oblivious to the thoughts in our minds already, conjuring up. Like how can I hide? How can I, be like this so he can't? Like I don't even do that anymore because I was like, who am I? Like you created me. You already knew this already. So how can I hide from you?
It's
How can I hide
something.
this thing?
That is something.
I think
Because
it
I'm
could be confessive.
right, and I'm trying to think of ways now. Like, what are some ways where I may do that? And then I'm thinking like, even if it may not, well, it may have started out as being intentional because of the fact of not wanting Yah to see the ugly things, even though he does see it.
Hmm.
However, then at some point it may have become a habit. But then I'm thinking like, well, what ways are there that I may have hidden? And I at times probably may even hide through giving pushing other people and what they do before the Father instead of myself. Because I was like,
Hmm.
that could be another way of hiding too. Because if I
Hmm.
like say something happens and whether it be my children or a relationship, like whatever it is, like whatever that thing is. So, and then I'm talking to the Father about that and about what they did and this, that. He might not even want to hear about that. It's like, okay, when are you going to start talking about you?
Right, right. Hmm. So this is what I do when I get ready to complain. I tell him I'm finna complain,
Hmm.
and I'm honest. I'm so honest, and like I said, when I'm saying I'm honest, I am honest with him. I tell him I'm finna complain. And I said, I got up this morning and I feel, I'm feeling ornery. I'm feeling real, what some would say, stank. I got a stank attitude today. I'm telling him this because I said these emotions that we have in us as women, as you created, what you created us as. I told him I don't understand it because we be all over the place. So I, and with our emotions, with everything, I said we so emotional with everything, y'all, and we're here, we're there. Help me to understand myself that this creation of me that you made as a woman that I feel so much, I take on so much, and I
Mm.
try to balance so much. And how can I fit you in with 15,000 things going on in my mind at the same time,
Mm.
and then trying to balance you in it. and then try, and then the best way for me to feel good is to place the blame on somebody else. I know they ain't trying, all of this is a deflection
Right.
because it helps us because we haven't given Abba time to talk to us yet. So
Right.
what we do is we start to blame because it makes us sit in a seat of comfortableness for that time being, as if he doesn't already know
I
what's
know.
going on. You know what I'm saying? Like as
Hmm.
like I already know what's going on. So why are you even coming to me like this?
Right.
Why are you
Right.
talking about so and so?
Right.
Because
Oh
what did
my
you do?
gosh.
What did you do? And he taught me to be confessive about that. And I said, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I acted like this. I said this, and I shouldn't have said this. I got, because here in Atlanta, when we drive in the traffic, everybody knows here the traffic is bad. So I had a problem with calling people stupid. Okay, I just is confessing.
Right.
I,
Right.
a stupid will come out my mouth. I don't shoot no birds or anything like that. But a
Right.
stupid idiots come out my mouth. And I said, you know what? Yeah, I gotta stop calling people stupid or
Right.
idiot. So I started talking to him about my mouth. And he told me, when you get ready to start calling people stupid or idiot, put your head down. And
Mm.
I said, I was like, what?
Hmm.
Because if you don't pay attention, you don't know. If you're not looking at it, if you're not concentrating on this thing, you won't know, okay, if they do cut you off, what's going on through their mind? Do you make their situation any better? And he said, this drop your head. And that means give me some space and time to think because I could be calling someone stupid that may have a real issue and I
Right.
don't know it. So I just escalated the situation. So me blaming them or calling them helps me feel better. So that's why we go and we judge and we point
Mm.
fingers. They hurt me. They hurt me. They said this. They said this. I don't like this. And they did this like this to me, y'all. And I've been sanctified and I've been doing all of this and they trying to do me like this. And I'm just trying to walk right. Then we start puffing ourselves up in pride because we're trying
Wow.
to make ourselves look good as if Abba don't know we raggedy,
And then
and
we're
just
measuring
like,
ourselves with our own measuring stick and not the
yeah.
Most High's word in that moment. Because if I'm bringing before him what such and such did to make me feel better, and
Mm-hmm.
then he's like, well, what would you do? Oh, well, I didn't do anything. I just did,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, what about your posture right now? What about your
Yes.
mouth right now? What about what you're feeling? But all of this stuff, I'm like, that's when we're not looking at the Messiah. We're not looking at Yahweh. We're not looking at the word,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, when we're
Mm-hmm.
looking at ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I might be looking at the word when I'm looking at somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And that's when we thump.
Right.
Scripture says da 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 da. But what did the scripture say when you was da 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 da? You
Exactly.
know, you know?
Right.
And we have to come back and say, okay,
Mm.
okay, yeah, it's me. That's what we need to say. Yeah, it's me. I practice saying, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. Even though we know the situation may be 95% on them, but still 5% still owns to us. So own that 5% as if the 95 was you too. And then that
Wow.
way you can judge less and love more.
Mm.
So that's what I'm
Wow.
learning to do, to judge less and love more because and a sister said this in conversation. We were speaking in a chat, and she said, "I'm glad only Yah judges me, cause a man doesn't know what battle and struggle it takes to change for the better."
Mm.
And repeat that, just for conversation. I'm glad only Yah judges me, cause man doesn't know what battle and struggle it takes to change for the better.
Mm.
Because we don't look at the struggle of the other person
At
and we
all.
don't look at the struggle what we going through.
Right.
So we're judging them to feel better about ourselves.
Wow.
We always judge each other to feel better about ourselves. And we constantly stay doing that because, like I said, we're lifting ourselves up. And I guarantee that's why he said, don't judge, don't
Mm.
judge. don't judge. And he keep, with that, this don't judge because you don't have a place.
Mm.
Because your sin, their sin may be this and you throw it in my face, but what's your sin? And I'm pretty sure it's measured out just as much as that.
Right.
So that's why humility is definitely wisdom in humility has to be in our posture more now as we go forward,
Right.
because we're going to notice that more and more as these trials come, they're not going to stop, and that's, I think we need to understand that the trials are not going to stop, the fiery dots are not going to stop. They might get more amped up in this time, so we have to continue to say, yeah, it's me. Yeah, it's me. What do I look like to you?
Mm.
Because we don't ever think about what we look like to Yah though. Because we
Right.
sit up there and tell him about everybody else. But Yah like, but I'm looking at you though, my daughter. I'm looking at you. What do you look like? So we don't really have time to be thinking about what somebody else has done to us. Give them grace and love and keep it moving and say, Yah, what did I do this right? Because he is going to critique us on this. You had a chance to do this on
Right.
so and so day. You was over here acting like this, and then you threw her up in my face or him up in my face,
That
saying
is
they did
so true.
this.
Right.
You know?
He called it a plank compared to their splinter. That is a
Right.
huge difference right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow. Wow.
Yeah. So I think it's about that.
That is something. That is something. So, even if it happens to be for me in this moment, like my children,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I need to be paying attention to more in those moments instead of pointing out to them what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Confession is good, but don't make confession a burden, because remember, people only know so much, and know how much to give, so we kind of put that on them to understand, and then we get offended when they don't understand. And it's not for them really truly to, it's for Yah to give us the understanding in this and how to be in perfect peace. It's like totally dependent on him, because you're
Yes.
talking about another air person that you want to give you comfort in something they may or may not know how to do. So
Right.
that's where that grace is extended. Like he extended the grace to us, because we should be perfect according to Torah, right? But we tear that up all the time.
Right.
But it's sufficient. So and I think
Mm.
when you look back at that situation and say, wow, I'm feeling like this, and do they understand? Just know by and by, eventually they will, because if they have to grow to be your age, our age, and in that seat where we at, life is going to come to them so they can understand. And if we go to prayer, sometimes Abba let that situation come back to them so they can be more empathetic with you. Maybe future times. Like for us, my son, when he used to do stuff to really, irk my nerves. And he said, Mom, I didn't understand then, but I understand now. And that right there will heal you. I promise you it will. Just to hear that they understand. I didn't understand it. So because it feels good to know someone knows your situation. Like, dog, I
Right.
shouldn't have did that to you, or I should have listened. I didn't understand then, but I know it now. And then some offer apologies and some just take it as an understanding. Now I'm in this position now. I understand exactly what you were feeling at the time. So, and
Right.
it's that grace period we have to give also to ourselves. We forget to give that to ourselves and to give it to others. And even especially when our children, give it to them as well, because they're watching us.
Mm.
I don't know why. The
They
woman
are.
stands sore thumb, like, oh, we get blamed for everything. So,
Yes.
and
Seem like it.
everything. Yeah, it was like everything. Our fault. That is your fault, but
Right.
really because when it comes down to wanting that love and nurturing and care, they really truly do come to us.
Right.
That's what Yah put in, and that's why He wanted us to be established in Him, so we could receive them in love and all people in love. So.
Yes, ma'am. So, um, because of it being on the topic as far as parents, the mother, as what we're talking about, and then the children, whenever we were, speaking previously in relation to the influence that the mother, like, say, for example, that the influence that my mother may have had on me, raising me as far as at more, some periods of time as a single mother, and then there was some periods of time where she may have been married to someone else. That wasn't my dad, but in an abusive,
Mhm.
marriage and stuff. But there was not a moment, to be honest about it, where I actually had a close relationship with her at all. And still today, I don't. So,
Mhm.
how is it that, like you have learned, throughout what the Most High had revealed to you whenever you had to go back and, forgive your mother, and, just different things that you had started noticing as far as your relationship with her that you needed healing in? Like, how did you go, like, about doing that, and even, or even that, and noticing that it, was needed, especially whenever it comes to
Mhm.
raising your sons.
Mhm. If I'm following you right, I guess
I
you
know I'm
asking me
like all
like
over the
what
place
is
with
the step
asking
that?
it.
No,
I
no, no, you're good.
apologize.
You're good. Okay. Like let me say this: is it the steps that you're asking me that are, or the revealing that Father gave me, rather, to start that healing? I think He had to break my heart with my own children.
Mm,
When I started to feel a certain kind of way with my children, oh, I'm talking about, He snatched me up in my emotions and everything, and He let me feel every little thing about them. Because and not like saying nobody else love, everybody think they just the best mom, they love their children just the best. How we
right.
get like that, overzealous with that.
Yes, ma'am.
But I I think the situation with me and my sons, and I saw situations repeating themselves.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, I saw this before. I saw this with my mom back then. And then when your children put you on Front Street, when they put you on the on the chopping block,
Mm-hmm.
and they start pointing fingers, then you want that grace. And then when you getting in that pity mode, like, I done did this for you, and I'm da 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 da, I can't believe you. I think that's the testing time
Mm,
that we get from them. And when they drive us, they like driving us mad. And our heart begin to break, because it just seems like things are not falling in line with them. We talking to them, we got to fuss at them every single day, you know, and we're coming at them, do this, you got to do this. And all of that building up. And then that day that you just sit back as a mom and you weep and you get tired, you start to reflect.
wow.
Dog, remember this. This was me and my mom. And it was just, that's what opened my eyes to everything. Dog, this is what my mom was going through with me, and I didn't understand it. And that's when He began to just, I'm talking about every little anything that could have been sown there, it started to come up. And I said, I don't even deserve to be mad at her. I don't even deserve to even say she did so and so, because now my children are giving me that same smoke, and I want that grace. And you know what we usually do? We'll call her and start talking to our mothers about their grandchildren
Right.
and
Right.
say, "That's my they doing this and that." And then you know what? And then some mothers, depending on the heart posture. They won't say, "Well, remember when you did this," or they'll just give you some,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Remember when you did this to
Right.
me? That's your kickback. So
Mhm.
that's what um I had to sit in
Wow.
and look at, and I was like, dog, I didn't. I never seen where my mom was coming from. I never knew if her heart was broken. I never knew that she needed to be here. And you got to remember, we just coming into being set apart. So we didn't know how to truly love Abba like that. So it was always going to be a misstep. They always had a misstep with them. So what was my mama missing that she
Mhm.
couldn't give me this? And then what generationally followed me that I couldn't give to my children, because we always try to supersede what our parents do, because we had the enemy put that in our mind to spoil our children, like we ain't gonna go through that because I went through that and I make sure my
Yes.
children, so we
Right.
and we that's one of those things he planted in us so
Mm.
we can create new type of new type of children that's rebellious. That's what he was
Wow.
planting. That's why that seed was there and it's planted, because he knew what when he kept watering it, what was going to come out in future times. That we was going to over exceed trying to do so much and then make our children rotten. And
Mhm.
and then now we over here pleading like why they don't love me, why they
Right.
don't talk to me, and why they don't do this and all of that. And we're looking like, and then we don't remember, we don't look at the things like what did we do? I didn't do anything. We don't understand. But see, that's when the confusion set, and that's what the enemy loved, because when he we was overachieving with them, he
Mhm.
didn't like got him, got him. Cause so when she break her heart, she gonna break down, and she ain't gonna have no way out, and then she gonna think it's woe is me, and nobody don't like me, and I don't, my kids ain't thinking about me, whatever. That's what he was planting in that when he decided, for us to feel that trauma from our parents like that. And I said, that's what you was birthing. You wanted me to resent my mama, and then you knew if I resent my mama, my children were gonna pick up that same thing, and they was gonna resent me,
Wow.
and then they can resent them. See, that's what he was doing, but he just used different scenarios sneakily to come into our families to try to do that to us. So we was over there being mad at our parents. They had no clue, not excused, but they didn't have any understanding. They didn't. They didn't. Because you remember they came up in that age is, shut your mouth, listen, only so and so, you only say this when some, spoken
Right.
to, they came up in that era. So they wasn't the generation that was going to be outspoken and say it. They said what they said, and they may have not thought about the repercussions of what they were saying by then, but they was just trying to get by. Was it perfect? No.
Right.
But then Yahuwah seen where it was healing. So here's our generation getting truth now. So I know what I took my children through. Now I'm finna heal them. So we're the generation that's waking up and we're seeing the indifferences of what's wrong. Now I could turn around and tell my mom, I'm sorry, or, you know, dog, I shouldn't have talked to her like that, or I shouldn't have felt like that, or I want to be close to her now. And I didn't understand what it is to be family. See, all of these things, these little seeds that he was planting to build that bitterness towards our parents, and we didn't understand it until our children start acting like that towards us, until our child was out there running the streets, not coming home, until that young lady, that young daughter of ours started sassing off at the mouth, but we couldn't keep her contained, until she running around here like she wants to be loose and we trying to keep her from doing it, all of these things, but we don't remember when we was doing it to our parents and we don't give them grace. That's what shut my mouth about it. And that's what started me with my healing journey towards my parents, because I owed my mama more than not talking to her, not forgiving her,
Mm.
because I didn't understand that, because until I had my own. And that's what she told me. When you have your own, you'll understand. And I didn't understand that until I had my own. And then that's when y'all begin to deal with me in love and say, you have to stop because you can't love me and don't honor your mother and your father. I
Mm.
gave them. So you gonna honor them. Because if we love y'all, you better honor him
Right.
because he's watching. So I had to figure it out, and it was what thorns and thistles, trust me, because I wanted to say so much,
Right.
but and you did,
Mm.
all the blame game, but he said no, because everything she did, you have to give it to me, and I gave it to him. I was mad.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
telling you, I was mad, but that's when he began to work on my heart, and I think that's what we need to do. We have to start talking to Yahusha about what is bothering us, as if he don't know
Right.
because it's
Which
going
is
to
true.
come
Yes,
out.
ma'am.
Yeah, it's gonna come out. So I hope it makes. Hopefully, I'm staying on top of everybody, understanding you,
Yeah, it's
understanding me. But hopefully,
yes.
it's just all of it is just coming back to you know how can I say I can't love them and don't forgive them, but I'm looking at my children and I want them to love and honor me. It don't work like you have to give it, and you have to show it, and you want them to do it, but you don't even talk to your mama, you don't even talk to your daddy, you disregard your auntie, you don't even offer them a hello. Technology that came out now, you can just do it sideways. You can just text them and say, just
Right.
think about the da da da. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't even got to be in there fast
That
no
is
more.
true.
So that's this all of this stuff is no way we don't communicate. It's just coming out of ourselves. Trust me, I know Yahusha wanted to leave us a long time ago, but he didn't do that. So I had to
Right.
remember who I was serving. You're like, oh, you gonna serve me, but you don't want to talk to your mama? You don't want to love your mama? Okay, well you don't know me
Mm.
then.
That is
You don't
really
want to talk to your
something.
father? It's sometimes it's
Wow.
simple, but we make it hard.
We do.
We make it hard.
Yes, ma'am.
No wonder why our children around here giving us the business.
Right. 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 That's yeah, because I'm taking it in. I'm listening, I for the most part, I because my mom and I, at least from what it is that I recall, like we didn't have a horrible relationship. We just didn't have one. Like there just was no relationship. Um
Mhm.
and she for the most part, I had to turn my ringer off because my phone just rang. But anyway, like we just don't have a relationship. We didn't have a relationship then. We don't have a relationship now. And whenever I do go to communicate with her, I actually feel weird because of the fact of there not being any communication or a relationship. So, but then my older children, I noticed that it's a similar thing though, because I'm not saying that I do not communicate with them at all, but there's not a strong relationship that's built with them. And,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
I've basically been, I would just say isolated, from family whenever it comes to, as far as biological.
Mhm.
I've even from whenever I was younger, I've just barely know my family, you know. Um,
Mhm.
and as I had said in another testimony, like my dad's side of the family, I don't even really know them. I'm still trying to
Mhm.
understand who my dad really is, because, that
Mhm.
right there, I don't really know anyway. But my mom's side, I know who they are.
Mhm.
And yet, even whenever we were younger, I didn't really have a relationship with them, like my grandparents I did, but whenever it comes to my mom, I didn't. Whoever the stepdad may have been, didn't. It was just whoever I had hung around with, maybe a couple of cousins, friends,
Mhm.
whatever. Um, but there was not this strong bond or I guess affection, love, or whatever, would come from a parent.
Mhm.
It wasn't there.
Mhm.
So I know that whenever I first started having children, there was this, yeah, you know what, I'm not going to be, like mom, I, this, that,
Mhm.
whatever. There was a lot of other things or reasons why I may have spoke that way because of certain things that we experience as, my siblings and I growing up. But for the most part, whenever my children were, the older ones were younger, I did what I was capable of doing. And yet I cannot say that I really bonded with them. I know it's weird, I guess now that I'm thinking about, like,
Mm.
when they're little and babies and toddlers and all that stuff is one thing, but as they got older, it was almost like I didn't know how to have a relationship. Are you looking for a meaningful way to help your child grow spiritually? Let me introduce you to My Talk with Yah, a quiet moments journal, a beautifully crafted tool designed to nurture your child's connection with Yah and encourage their spiritual growth. This journal is more than just a book. It's an interactive companion that guides children on a journey of faith, repentance, and self discovery. Here's what makes it so special: there are weekly plans that provide structure and consistency, helping your child to build a habit of engaging with Yah regularly and creating those important quiet moments. There are creative coloring pages perfect for your children to not only have fun, but designed to reflect key spiritual concepts. It's a way to foster mindfulness while sparking creativity. The journal also helps your child internalize positive faith based affirmations, boosting self confidence and nurturing a deeper connection with Yah. The journal also includes the Ten Commandments for children to read over and memorize, providing them with a foundational understanding of our faith and a life of set apartness. You can also encourage your child's introspection and self expression through carefully designed writing prompts that guide them toward meaningful self discovery. So, whether you're helping your child build a foundation in their faith or reinforcing an existing spiritual practice, My Talk with Yah, a Quiet Moments Journal, is adaptable to meet your family's needs. And the best part, when you buy this journal, you're also giving back. Every portion of each sale goes to help those in need, making this a purchase with purpose. So if you're ready to elevate your child's faith journey and support a great cause at the same time, head to parabayamana.com and order your Quiet Moments Journal today. And let's make spiritual growth a daily part of your family's life. Like
Mhm.
whenever they hit the teenage years or something.
Mhm.
And then once the teenage years came about, that's when all these other challenges came about on top of that.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
here it is. I may have been probably treating them the same way that I thought that I was able to whenever they were younger. But it was a whole different stage.
Mhm.
And it was
Mhm.
almost like I didn't know how to do parenting at that other stage. And I started having children at 16.
Mhm.
So I really didn't know it anyway. So right now with the other two daughters, they're not yet in their teenage years, but very close to it.
Mhm.
Well, the one is 13, so I guess you could say that she is, but it's like I'm right there again, like, man, there's a whole nother way that I know that I'm supposed to be as a parent, but then I'm looking at myself like, you know what? I think that this is the stage that my mom may have stopped doing things.
Mhm.
Like I didn't have a clue. I don't know what it was, as far as like, people remember stuff when they three, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to whatever age. But I would say at least from 12 on, that's probably when I know for a fact that all of that stuff stopped. Like if there was something at 11, 10, 9, 8, don't remember it.
Mhm.
But it was just so abusive, that maybe, she probably just was not in a place to be able to do that for real. But
Mhm.
now that I'm thinking about it because of what you're saying, like that may have been another thing that I had mimicked and not really realized that whenever they hit or we had hit a certain age when she stopped doing like it's almost like I did that, and
Mhm.
then here my older children, there was a lot of things that I mean, I was still there, I still communicate with them, like I said, somewhat. My older daughter more so than my sons, but anyway, if that's making sense, because I'm like
Yeah,
looking at
it is. It
myself and I'm
is.
like, man, I guess maybe that's when she started to, and then that maybe that's the reason why I feel the way that I feel now, because once they hit a certain age, that could have been how she may have felt once we hit a certain age, like 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
and all
Mm-hmm.
that, it may have been overwhelming for her.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't talked to her about it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, that's what this is having me think about in the moment.
Yeah. You can see like that, like you can see what I'm talking about, even like with my also in the family, it's a pattern. And
Right.
and we also, sometimes we try not to see it, but it's actually it's there.
Mm,
And it's a pattern that continues to go on, and then sometimes we just draw a blind eye to it and let time go by. That's one thing is we let time go by as if it was going to erase what has happened or what's going to happen, and it's not. So we kind of deflect and say, oh, okay, yeah, but we don't kind of watch that. And I was watching myself truly, because my sons, when you when you raising boys, it's not
right.
easy. Oh my goodness.
No.
That's the challenge of, oh my
Ooh.
goodness. I can't say girls are easier either, because I have a 13-year-old and who I co-parent with. So I just, and with them, they hear they're everywhere. So if you can snatch them up for them just to listen to you, you're good. So you
Right.
know what I'm saying? If
Yes,
they listen
ma'am.
to you, you're good, because everything else is Charlie Brown, wah wah.
Hmm.
So I don't even know if they even listen anymore. So from learning from my sons, because I think that's the sons are the best teacher. Whew,
Right.
they are the best teachers, because you have an attachment to them, but sometimes they are detached from you, and they detaching from you helps you kind of give you a reflection, like, what am I doing?
Right.
Like, where am I going wrong? Did I communicate with them? And half of the time, that's why I think some of us, as in quote unquote so-called black mothers, we tend to baby or try to cleave to our sons, because we try to
Hmm.
nurture them, and because we don't want them to go out and do this and go out and do that, and we try to do it, but sometimes it be at a default that we're doing those things. And sometimes, like now, as we can see, this generation, they are not responders like we are. I think we
Right.
want them to be like us. They're
Right.
not. And I think we need to get that out of our mind. That
That
this
is true.
generation, these generations after us, no. And sometimes you have to ask yourself, okay, who raised you? Where you come from? Because we were never like that. But
Right.
and then they're gonna turn around and ask you, was you even better because you traumatized?
Right. True.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We would shut mouth. They talk too much. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They got it. They just, their mouth is just whatever comes out, come out. They have no, chain on their mouths. But we was told to shut up and be quiet.
Hmm.
And so now we're dealing with a generation that doesn't want to be in those shackles of bondage like that. So their way of doing it is to move away from us or don't have nothing with us. And I don't know why we do that. And I think that's probably a part of that, that slave, so, quote, syndrome that we have is probably something within them curses that we deal with. I think we all go through
Agreed.
that. And it's definitely, definitely um, a a big marker. You can't look at the same thing happening to the same people in different families and don't go back and say, where is this coming from? And that's why is no way that anybody can sit here, even if we ain't the people. I don't know what you have read.
Right.
I don't know what y'all have read, but
Right.
even KJV breaks it down, and if you don't see the blessings and the curses, I don't understand who
Mm.
could be more identifying of these things than us. And our life testify of these things. And this is the reason why these conversations that we're having, because we're realizing, wow, these things are really happening to us. We really have these issues. And these are the issues that y'all had already talked about in the beginning
Sure
in
did.
Deuteronomy, and so now we're trying to find our way through these curses and love one another again and raise our families again and heal again, because now we're learning who we are in our land of our captivity. So that's why we're fighting these things now, because we're recognizing Oh, okay.
Mm,
We
right,
are the people.
exactly.
It's a
Yes, ma'am.
requirement of us. It's a life that we're supposed to be living. So that wasn't the life. We wasn't supposed to be sitting over here and mama be over here and I don't talk to her and we can walk past each other and be in the store and don't even say nothing to each other and you hide in this aisle and just hope she don't say nothing to me because I don't feel like talking to her. I don't feel like giving
Right.
her
Oh
no
my
money.
gosh. Yes,
That's
that
how
is
we
true.
are.
Right. And that's
Mm,
sad. That is very, very sad. But then cry out and want to have a
mhm.
relationship with the Most High, though.
Yep, and wonder why it's broken and wonder why we
Wow.
have and then you know what best religion would promote that, you know, dysfunctionalism and or
Mm,
dysfunctionalness or whatever, excuse me, Christianity. And I ain't knocking all Christianity because some of it had soundness with it. Not all of it does. But when it promotes foolishness,
right.
it's not good, you know. But it helped us harbor those things that they didn't help us, you know, how can I say it just I think it helped us blanket stuff like it
Mm,
does now. Come as you are, but then stay jacked up. Just that's
right.
what it
Oh
was.
my gosh.
You know what I'm saying? We can love
Mm.
kumbaya with one another, but when we know we go back home, I'm still not talking to you, girl. Stay out of my
Oh
face.
my
Don't,
gosh.
stop talking to me.
That's it. But
This is that's it. That's the toxicness, and we wonder. And when I say, how can any color
oh my
folk, black
gosh.
folk, whatever minority, whatever you think, how can you look at these situations in your life and don't go back to D28? Let's just saying that it is D28. Just check the hearses and see. These are the things, but he told us how
Mm,
to heal. The land is the people who are
mm.
called by my name,
Oh
will
my
humble themselves. So to humble yourself is to reflect, to be lowly, and say, "This is me. Yah is me." That's what He wants us to do, and we wonder why we ain't gone yet because our hearts are raggedy.
they
We
sure
don't even
are.
want to talk to our mothers. We don't want to talk to our sisters. We don't really talk to our aunties because most of our aunties is out there, in la la land. We all over the place. And it all comes from brokenness. It all comes from a lack of communication. And our first lack of communication started when we stopped talking to the Father about how we feel, about how these situations make us feel. Because if we feel like we're not getting no answer from Him, we're going to start to deflect that on the people that surround us. We're going to start to develop that in our attitudes of how we move. Even in this awakening, I can't talk to her because she da 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 da. We gonna have our little strife because this we're trying to learn to live new. That's gonna come. But
Yes.
if we stay in that, that's gonna become toxic, and Yahuwah is nowhere in that.
Mm,
He's
that
nowhere
is
in that,
something.
and it's so prevalent.
It
If
is.
you don't talk to your mother, if you don't talk to your sisters, if you always got beef with them, if you always got something going on with them, look at yourself.
Right.
Look at yourself first. Because when you start to work on you and you talk to Abba about you, all of these things will make a door opening for everyone to come in and sit. Whether they receive you or not, at least know while you walking in truth, you worked on you to open that door for healing to come to all of them. You are responsible for that,
Mm,
not them. If he woke you up, you're responsible for that. I ain't say run after nobody, and I ain't say be nobody doormat, but you are responsible for the reflection of his light and his love. So they have to see that because that's how healing starts. Charity starts at home. Home. It
yes.
does.
And
We
just like
can't
you
prophesy.
said,
We can't pray. We can't prophesy. We can't pray. We can't do all this. And we
wow.
know that we haven't even started at home
Mm,
yet. We're powerless. So,
wow. That's something. And um, it just brings me back to where you was talking about as far as us refusing the Most High's love, because it's
mhm,
either us refusing His love for ourselves, but then
mhm,
us refusing His love as far as giving it to others in cases
mhm,
like that, because He says that I mean, one of them, one of the, I'm call it a command because he says that if you
Mhm.
come to bring
Mhm.
an offering to him and you
Mhm.
remember that your brother, sister, aunt, uncle, cousin, mom, dad, whoever,
Mhm.
has an
Mhm.
odd against you, he says, go and reconcile and then come back and bring your offering. Then
Mhm.
there's another instance in which he says that, how can you say that you love Yah, or Yahweh
Mhm.
Shai in which you have not seen?
Mhm.
And then here it
Mhm.
is that hate or dislike or strongly dislike or whatever it is, toward that person in which you do see.
Mhm.
So, um, and then going right back to what you had said as far as the stripes that we take, I just think that this right here, we're not getting that this is a part of that. We can't
Mhm.
keep holding on to these excuses as to why I should not have to, talk to my sister because my sister did this against me, or why I should not have to rebuild or restore or try to do build up, some type of communication with my mom, because of all this stuff that I may, have been holding on to or whatever. Like we come up with all these excuses, but it goes right back to the blame thing, like we were saying with
Mhm.
Adam and Hawa, because if I'm having a conversation with the Most High and he's saying, hey, Azanya, go speak to your mother, go call her. And if I'm
Mhm.
bringing up all these excuses, well, but I feel weird, or but, we haven't talked in this long, or but I don't know what to say, but, or if it is a case in which that one that is extremely hurt, because we were also
Mhm.
talking about toxic parents last time too, but let's say it's a case of a parent that is very toxic to whether it was back in the day or maybe currently, being toxic. There's still these reasons why we will place in front of us, before Yah and say, well, she, if it's a, father or something like that, or uncle or
Mhm.
whatever, where he,
Mhm.
this, that. But, we really are not, we really are not I would almost say we're not allowed, when it comes to the Most High. Yeah, we think that we can, but we're not really allowed when it comes to the
Mhm.
Most High to take all of this stuff that people have done to us and present that to the Most High as a reason for our lack of communication or our not
Mhm.
wanting to build a relationship or not wanting to forgive or still wanting to hold on to some resentment, something that they did yesterday or whatever. Like we think
Mhm.
that we are
Mhm.
allowed to really hold on to these things, and we give ourselves the excuse like, no, I can hold on to that.
Mhm.
But then we don't realize that like we were talking about earlier, is what actually is hardening one's heart and not making it pliable to where the Most
Mhm.
High can mold it, him being the potter, us
Right.
being the clay.
Mhm.
He's wanting to
Mhm.
mold it through these circumstances, through these relationships, through these
Mhm.
people that are unlovable. Sometimes, I
Mhm.
mean, come on now, like we've been that way. I've been that way.
Mhm.
There's
Mhm.
plenty of
Mhm.
times where the Most High, I mean, I can look at myself today, and I'm not saying that I'm who I was or whatever, but regardless of what state of life that I'm in, I'm never going to be able to go before Yah and say that I deserve his love. Never.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm never
Mhm.
going to be able to go to the Most High and say that I deserve anything that he has
Mhm.
decided to gift me with. Everything is by choice on
Mhm.
his part.
Mhm.
It's
Yep.
because of him being I am and because he said that he
Mhm.
will and he chooses to. But we keep
Mhm.
coming up with these excuses to where we're going to say,
Mhm.
well, I shouldn't have to because, you know, really? Because the Most High can
Right.
come in, but I chose you, but I love you.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
know your heart.
Mhm.
Come on now. Man sees
Right.
outside
Right.
appearance. I see your
Mhm.
heart. All of them feelings and thoughts and
Mhm.
emotions. I know all them. Before I even brought you into even being a thing, to exist, I knew all of that. And I still
Mhm.
chose to bring you forth. So
Mhm.
how can you not love?
Right.
And at the same time, that's
Yeah.
who he is. So if
Yep.
we're
That.
not loving, then we're not giving them Yah in us.
Mhm.
Or maybe
Mhm.
he's not enough of him is in us.
Mhm. because we think that what we're doing is we're again we want to be the master of our own thing,
Right.
and it's called self-preservation.
Mm.
It ain't no self-preservation in this. Yahusha didn't self-preservate. He didn't do it. And if anybody, if we reflect on anything,
Mm.
let's talk about our one
Yes.
sibling,
Yes.
Yahusha.
Right.
How nasty
Mm.
have we been to him?
Mm.
Then he said, I'm going to reconcile you back to the Father,
Mm.
and I'm going to lay my life down for you Negroes, excuse me, had to say it. And I'm going to do all of this just for you
Right.
to sit over here and act like you can't talk to nobody, you can't
Right.
love nobody, you can't give them no food, you can't give them no clothes, you can't house them. So you're going to do all of that.
Mm.
When I supply your daily need, I do that. I loved you.
Mm.
And then on them days and them nights when you was over there in that house by yourself or wherever you was or in that car and you let that whole water bag come out and you just felt like this was the end. Who was there with you? I was. I was there
Right.
with you when you was at your ugly and your lowest point. And I dare you think that you're gonna turn around and you can't say hey or you can't embrace your brother. I did it for you to father.
Right.
I walked. I told the truth to you. I didn't hold it back. I was an example, but you can't be an example. I could have did more. Hold on. I could have came off, I could have stayed off that steak. That's the number one thing. And it would have
Mm.
been nothing.
Nothing.
So let me stay off that steak and let's see what your life will look like right now.
Mm. Mm.
We'll be destroyed. If he was to love us like we love everyone else, communicate with us like we communicate with everybody else, talk to everybody like we talk to everybody else, think on the thoughts that how we think on everybody else, place the blame game. And then he go to say, yo, Usha, why didn't you do what I say? But because they was over there saying, I'm this and I don't,
Mm.
I'm a gluttonous, so I'm a drunken, and I heal from, Beelzebub. He could have said all of those things.
Right.
What good come out of Nazareth? Remember when we said that, we
Right.
said that
Sure
to his
did.
face.
Sure
What
did.
good? He
Right.
called him scum. Ain't nothing good, so pretty much in layman's terms, he said, "What good come out of the ghetto?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Surely you ain't, them Shirley kids. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or them married kids
I
over
was
there.
about to,
Them
right.
Mary and Joe
And
kids over there.
JoJo.
Oh, them hard headed.
Right.
Them jokers over there. Girl, you know
Exactly.
where they stay at.
Yeah.
What can they tell me? Girl, they've been staying in the hood since da 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 da.
Yes. And then talk
That
about
part.
what he looked like. Because
And
the
what he looked
scriptures say that he wasn't, somebody to
like.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
To gaze
So,
upon. Yeah.
yes,
So
ma'am.
just think about that. All the stuff that we,
Right.
just to downplay him,
Right.
to act like nothing good can come out of Nazareth.
Mm.
Remember, Nazareth could be our situation. Something good could come out of that, but we don't know because, well, we're going to push it away. We've
Right.
been pushing it away. They didn't even know the Messiah was in front of them. They didn't know because they just say, what good can come from that? What good
Right.
from coming? Who you can't talk to me. Who are you?
Mm.
And they forgot. See, if they was following like they was supposed to, they'd have loved him.
Mm.
They'd have loved him, but they couldn't because pride was speaking. They was self-preservate. That self-preservation was kicking
Right.
in, trying to
Wow.
self-preserve. Well, we can do this, and we're justified through Torah. We don't need. That's pretty much what it was because you see, they always went back to see how he was not, following up with Torah. You see, that was their justification. Oh,
Right.
we follow this. We do this and this like us. We try to find fault. Some we do it like this, so I can't do this. I can't talk to them because they did this to me. It's always us trying to find something. It's
Mm.
always a fault. You notice that they followed Yahusha just to find fault, and you
Yes.
know that's the same reason why we won't forgive, because we want to find fault,
Mm, 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 mm. Wow.
because we always looking for fault. Because when you truly, really look at, I had to ask myself too, and I know I heard the Father say, "So do you really love me? Do you really, or am I convenient?
Mm,
Or am I convenient when you're crying when somebody don't treat you right?
mm.
Am I convenient, when it's just time to say shalom and let me wrap my head real quick? Am I convenient for you? You want the power to fall on you for you can look like so and so in front of me, in this one and that one, to proclaim your name, to preserve yourself, to call yourself, to have a title and all. We do all that in the inside of us. We dead man's bones. And he already know it. And he probably said, look at her. Look at him. Ridiculous. But then instead of him saying that, he sent us love. He said, I'm gonna bless him anyway. I'm gonna keep
Wow.
him. And when the Ruach HaKodesh ministers to them, it'll tell them, you're not lining up with my word. You're not reading my word. This is not what I'm about. That's not my heart. You'll hear him now more and more now telling you, don't do that. That's not how you talk to them. You gotta love. You need to repent for what you just thought about, what you said. That's him working in us. And when we see well, they thinking this and they thinking that. I think, they think this about me. That ain't, how do you know that? That's the enemy.
That, yes. True.
That's the enemy already. When you get up in the morning, he be mashing play on that thing all day. Yeah, that's the reason why she ain't called me, because she over there acting like she did all this. She ain't text me. Wonder what she doing. Yeah, she probably over there talking to sister so and so, and all of this. You know where we get that from? Trauma,
Mm,
trauma, trauma. And then here it goes, come over here, and then you're trying to operate in the rock with that. As if he gonna operate with you in that. He ain't in that.
wow.
He's not in that. And we're trying to balance our foolishness with his holiness.
Mm,
Sit down, go talk to your mother, go talk to your father, go talk to your children or your siblings who you haven't fought with or aught with or whatever it is, and present yourself before them. He wants us to be walking in humility. Humility don't mean you a punk. It don't mean
mm.
they getting over on you. It don't mean you're a doormat. It means you love the Father just that much. So whatever I have to stretch myself to do to make it to the kingdom, I gotta do it.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Even if that's
Hallelujah.
talking to that mom who did me so wrong, who took me past myself in any given situation, cuss me out, every situation. If it's loving them, if it gets me to the kingdom,
Right.
what you want me to do, Father?
Right. Right.
How do you want me to
Yes,
speak to
ma'am.
them? I'll treat them like gold. He looking at that because we're going to be accountable for that when we go before him, because we think we're gonna come up. Remember when they was doing this to me? They did this to me, and he gonna say, "I don't care. I told you
Mm,
this, and this command, this command, this command. This is what I told you. I didn't tell you to reflect on it the whole time. I told you to heal and do what I told you to do.
wow.
It's not going to be an excuse after a while.
It's
It
not.
ain't no excuse now. But you know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's not no excuse now, but it's just not going to be no excuse.
And it could come to a point of being too late, you know.
Too late.
Like
That's
now,
yeah.
deal
That's
with it.
what I'm trying to deal with it, because
Yes.
then sitting over there like, oh, because we have two appointments
Mm-hmm.
now,
Mm-hmm.
2 appointments, and
Mm-hmm.
we gonna see them things, and it's gonna happen. So we looking. Sometimes we have, we finna exodus, but you know what? Sometimes we forget about, you can exodus by T-suit before that time, and you don't want to leave out of here wrong. And then he say, "Depart from me, I never knew you."
No.
That's how we gonna hear that,
Mm-mm.
because we over here thinking we doing something, and
Right.
we haven't even turned around and told our brothers and sisters, "I'm sorry." Well, mom, I want, can I talk to you, whatever, even if it stings. Bite that tongue.
Right.
Let that salt taste in your tongue like when
I
you
know,
bite it,
right.
and taste
Yep.
it, and then and you say the kingdom. Cause after this, the kingdom.
Mm. Hallelujah.
After this, the kingdom. And so you say
Hallelujah.
what you gonna choose, what you gonna do. That's what we need to make up in our mind. What you gonna do? You gonna stay like this? You gonna keep getting on the phone, talking to your sister, talking to your sister about your other sister or your other brother, what they doing, or your cousin and them, or you gonna talking about your mama doing da 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 da, or get on the phone and say, mama, this hurt me when you said that. I'm not trying to start anything, but I just want to let you know this is how I'm feeling. That's how the conversation starts, and it's okay to do that. Because Yahuwah can see where you walked in humility, trying to do what he told you to do. Heal.
Right.
He's watching that in you. He look, but he didn't give that to them. He gave it to you. So obviously you were the author of the beginning of it. So you started like he said it. Do
Right.
what he told you to do. Maybe it's starting in you. Maybe it needs to start, even if it's their fault. Yahusha ain't did nothing wrong, but he came over here to clear us up, right? He ain't
That's
had
right.
nothing to do with it. We was over here filing up and doing everything. We the one who was over here in out of worship. We was him, and then he came.
Mm-hmm.
He was with the Father already. He was what they say. He was chilling already with the
Seeing the
Father. I
mess.
can't. Right,
Seeing the
right.
mess. Because he said, while,
Right.
we were still yet sinners, he
Mhm,
died. And before
mhm,
that, he's seen it.
mhm,
It's not like this was new. He knew who he
mhm.
was coming for in
Yes.
the hearts of those.
Mhm.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew, and he's like, "Nah, I want this assignment." You
Right.
know. Mhm.
Even though it was a struggle, even in
Right.
that, he's like, Father, if it be
Hmm.
possible at
Yeah.
all to remove this
This
cup
is your
from
will.
me.
Yes.
But if this is the only
Hallelujah.
way that it's able to be done, then
Done.
your will
Your will.
and not
Hmm.
mine.
Your will. Yeah. If this is the only way to get this to heal, that means that
Yes.
I have to die to my total self. Because
Right.
myself want to turn up and act up. If it means being humble
Mm,
and even seem like it's stages of humility or being humiliated, so be it.
I'm thinking like as far truly like father, like son, because remember when
Mhm.
Yah did that to Yasharal? Our forefathers,
Mhm.
he told Moses, he was like, let me just get rid of all of them and start all over with you. How about that?
Get
I
with
mean, I'm
you.
saying
Right,
the flood
right.
too, but that moment right there,
Hmm.
he's like, look,
Hmm.
hard headed, stiff neck, you know,
Hmm.
for real. And he interceded. He's like, all right. Because, like, for real, we was like that close to not existing.
That close, yeah, that close,
That
and
close.
that's what, and and that's what we have to remember. We was that close,
Yeah,
and then and then he kept loving us,
he sure did.
tore us up, kept loving us, tore us up, kept loving us again,
Yeah.
tore us up, kept loving us
Mm,
again, and then he said, "Hold on, let me say something. Let me some. It got to be a better way,
yes.
my son. Now we can give it over to Yahushua."
Right.
And he has done everything now. And he intercedes. Father, I give him time. I know they messed up. I know they doing this. Give him time. That mercy. He constantly interceding
Mm,
for the
mm,
Father.
mm, mm,
Don't do
mm.
it because I tell the sister this all the time. We think we can run up on y'all like that. We can't. You better
Right.
be glad you got Yahuwah because we'll be dead if it was the case, if he wasn't there, because you can't run up on the Father like that.
Right.
You don't see where he played patty cake with us at all, and nowhere. When he said no, that meant no. He said don't do it, that means don't do it. Okay, you do it, done. See
Mm,
this
mm,
grace that we have right now, we abusing it.
right.
We abusing it day by day because we think we got it like that.
Mm.
We don't have it like that. So if he tell you to turn around and suck it up and go do what you gotta do. If you want to make it to that promise king, you better suck it up. And I said, okay, your will be done. That's all we need to be saying. Your will be done. Cause you forget. We said I do.
Right.
You become one. So if you become one with him, like the son was one with him, it ain't no longer what you want to do. It's what he tell you to do. And
Oh
that's what
wow.
we trying to do. We trying to do what he does and what we want to do. Psych.
I
No,
know,
they don't
right?
work like that.
It don't, right.
It don't work
Right.
like that.
Try to
You know?
interpret them scriptures
No,
differently, but I thought it meant this though. Like, no,
no.
that ain't what I said.
No, there's no, no.
Mm,
It's just it's the dying of ourselves.
it
And
is.
we truly really think about that. We really don't want to do it. That's why we had these seeds of bitterness. That's how we had these seeds of trauma that keeps getting watered because we trying to self-preserve. We want to be the master, like they said, of our own faith. And that's why this new age talk is coming in and it's so big now because they really honestly think that they're going to be the master of their own life. You're fooling yourself. You're fooling yourself. You can't do anything without him. He already said that. And I know he laughing at all of those who think they can.
Mm,
You can't even breathe without him. So you say, yeah, this is how you command your day. You don't have a day to
right.
command. It's his. You
Mm,
thank him for the day. You don't command your day. I'm gonna speak this like this. Not saying this is not the things, but you have to remember what it's self, that's the self idolizing and boasting yourself up to make you be a little
right.
mini deity, you know? So
Yes.
come back now, come back
Right.
now and
Yes,
sit
ma'am.
down and reflect because you just you're a vapor. He said a vapor your life is, and you're just the dust.
Right.
Okay, so we better come back to these things and start honoring what he said. And the first thing from all the stuff that we have been going through here in this captivity here, when we want to get out of here is when, because I know I bless all the brothers and sisters that's going over to the continent and doing all of these things. But the first thing we have to do is start here in our hearts,
Yes.
because we could go over there and still be jacked up. That's not going to change anything. You're just going to be who you are over there.
Right.
You still, if you don't talk to your mama here, you're going to go over there and don't talk to your mama over there.
Right.
If you a liar here, you're going to be a liar there. Nothing is going to change that. So the cleaning up, because we want to run and go get, no, start right here, right now, while you have breath and you have grace. Start to heal, start to go to these things that has us bound up. And when we start working on these things, I know Abba will move for us. Why he hasn't moved us out of this place of what is coming is because we ain't did the work yet.
Right.
I ain't taking y'all nowhere. You don't, like I said, you don't even talk to your brothers and sisters, your mom and them. Where are you going? So
Yeah.
must I take you to the wilderness to kill you? Oh, no, no, I'll fix it here, Father. I'm good.
Right.
Let me talk to her right now.
Right.
You know. Matter of fact, if you
Wow.
can't talk to them, get a card. Start with a card. Mama, I don't know how to say this. Da 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 da. I know we went through a lot of stuff. Daddy, I don't know how to say this. Brother, sister, I don't know how to say this. But I want to be healed. I'm trying to heal and I'm changing. It's okay to confess, Father, because they eventually got to come to it themselves.
Right.
Pick up that phone. You ain't talk to your mom or your dad. Pick up the phone, even if you have to dial that number 12, 15 times, and just say, I just wanted to say hello. That's a start.
It sure is.
It's a start. Text them, hello. Text them, though. That's kind of shine out. That ain't, you know, mm-mm. We in the
Yes,
past the
ma'am.
time to where we need to open our mouth now. Even if it's hard, send them a text. That's your first start. Baby step, that's okay. But don't stay on that texting and behind the veil stuff. Go and start being women and men and brothers and sisters of the true faith of this walk, and let's start talking to our brothers and our sisters and our mothers that we don't get along with. When that sister come to you, start to talk about mama or daddy or cousin them, so you know what, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Right.
Because we got big things to do. Because all it is watering what's already inside of you. And
Mm,
then next minute you know you're mad, and then next minute you know you mad with the kids, and you don't know that whole spirit that fell on you. Now you mad with the kids, you fussing at everybody in the house, and you don't know what happened to you.
right. Wow. And even if it ends up being a moment that's hard, it's still do what our part is. Like I said, for people that it may be kind of difficult or if it's toxic or whatever, because you don't know what's on the other end, but it's
Mhm.
about us doing what we need to. It's about us allowing our hearts to be those hearts of flesh, so to speak, and not hard.
Yeah. If
Wow.
he can harden and soften Pharaoh's heart, he can do anything. Just we have to be obedient, and then we are we have been selected by the Father to come in the truth, to bring truth to our families that are broken. And we keep forgetting about that. Why were you chosen? Maybe to begin the healing in your family that was never there.
Mm.
Don't miss the assignment because you mad.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I want to close today's episode with Isaiah chapter 41, verses 8, 9, and 10. And it reads, But you, Yasharal, are my servant, Yaakov, whom I have chosen, the descendants of Abraham, whom I love, whom I have strengthened from the ends of the earth, and called from its farthest parts, and said to you, You are my servant. I have chosen you, and have not rejected you. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not look around, for I am your Almighty. I am your strength. I am your power. I am your Eloah. I shall strengthen you. I shall also help you. I shall also uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness. Hallelujah. Remember, no matter what you are facing, the Most High YAH can turn the impossible into something possible. If you were encouraged, inspired, edified, make sure to subscribe, like, comment, share, and be a part of our growing community. We're here every week to bring you more testimonies, teachings, songs, whatever it is that the set-apart spirit of the Most High YAH brings that will strengthen your faith. And until next time, stay encouraged and walk in the authority of Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Shalom.